need to be comfortable around the idea that you will commit some kind of errors in that journey, but you need to pick yourself up. Sometimes you will be shattered by some behavior of your child, or there'll be always ups and downs. There'll be highs and there'll be lows. You'll feel very proud one time, you may feel very low or hurt sometimes. So be comfortable that you are going to be uncomfortable in this journey. And one thing here I would like to say is that don't judge yourself too harsh while in this journey, because it is a learn as you grow. You are also growing with your children. So it is a learning process and it never stops, because from the time the child takes the first breath till the time you pass out of this world, it is the journey. Even if the child is 50 years old, still the parents are relevant for them, and still they fall back to their parents. So it is an ongoing process. And but having said that, there's nothing called a perfect parent, but your goal should be to try to be as much perfect as possible. So, an aim should be to raise resilient, empathetic, and mentally strong kids. That is, mentally strong kids now, so that they are empathetic, responsible, and good citizens in the future. The most effective parents aim to raise mentally strong, and what I was telling you, strong and responsible children who will be equipped with the realities of adult life. That is the aim. It is not what the prizes they are bringing, or what accolades they are bringing, or what pride they are bringing to you. Your only aim should be that you raise such kids that they will be the future responsible citizens of this country or of this world. Now it's a global village, as we say. Wherever they are, the values that we imbibe with them in their childhood should be enough fortification for them in their adult life. That is the aim. So now we come to the 9 habits that I'm talking about. First is that enforce the rules. Now, I would like to ask the parents that a certain amount of house rules and boundaries help to keep you sane, isn't it? If in your house there are no rules or no boundaries, then you feel a little all over the place. Isn't that right? You feel a little in control when you set certain boundaries. But let me tell you something else. This also helps a developing child feel more safe and secure. Enforcing the rules not only helps the parent, but it also helps a growing child feel very stable in the house and they feel secure. An effective parent is very clear. They make it very clear what a child is allowed to do and not allowed to do. For example, the chores that they are expected to complete. Then how should they behave with other members of the house? Even if there is a pet in the house, how the pet can be treated or not treated. These are the ground rules. If it is late, then the child knows that there will be consequences for crossing the boundaries. And of course, a child will mistake somewhere here and there, that because they are children, they are bound to make mistakes. But after you've given your child the instructions, what you can do is add a if, and then say something like, if you don't put away your toys, add a consequence to that. You won't be allowed to watch your favorite show, or you will not be allowed to go to the park, or something like that. So you set the rule, say that if you don't do this, then there is a consequence to it. This step shows your child that while they are allowed to make a mistake, but they're responsible for their own actions, right? So and now what happens is, if he or she violates a major rule, suppose she misbehaves in a public place or hits you, then immediately you have to put a consequence to that. And remember that consequence and punishment is not the same thing. Punishment generally embarrasses a child, but consequences are meant to help them to learn from their mistakes. Right. So if you're going to punish a child immediately, then it may backfire, especially in a public place. Never punish a child. But if you're going to set a consequence for that, then what happens is the child knows that this is a step that I have taken outside the boundary, and there is a consequence and I'm responsible for it. So if she violates a major rule like hitting you, immediately the ground rule is that immediately follow with the consequence. Show her that your job is to help her learn, follow the rules, nothing else. You are not judging or you're not punishing, but you are helping her to follow the rules. I hope I'm clear in this first point. Okay, having said that, also remain a little flexible. Now, there's a thin line between enforcing the rules and being overly strict. You need to keep a little, flexibility at certain situations. All situations won't be the same. So in certain situations, you may have to keep a little flexibility. Making too many rules is likely to backfire. So I don't know how many parents are here, but if I'm talking to a larger crowd, I've seen that there is almost 50%. If I tell them in an offline session, raise your hands who are very strict parents, almost 50% raise their hands. That means even in today's day and time, there are overly strict parents who think that, spare the cane and spoil the child sort of framework, which we used to work earlier. But a case study done by the University of New Hampshire concluded that overly strict parents actually raise children who are bound to break rules in the future. You must have seen this in your real life experience. Like if the father is too strict with the son, invariably when the son steps out, for that matter, son, daughter, whoever, and goes into an independent life, for example, in the college or university, where they are not in the notice of their parents, then what happens? They are the ones who break the rules first, instead of children who come from a little flexible household. So I think I need not give you an example here. It is enough for you to see that children will break the rules once they step out, once they are out of your control or your notice, if you have made the rules very strict. Also, research shows that children who have seriously strict parents, this is an important one, often have low self-esteem and decreased sense of self-worth. Because if they're always judged and always strict, what happens is their self-esteem goes for a toss, and they develop into adults who have very little sense of self-worth. So that again is a problem. That again is a problem for the that individual who has grown up into that kind of an adult. And who is responsible? The parent who has been overtly strict during his childhood. So the basic thing is that you loosen up once in a while. Your child should generally know that there are consequences for breaking certain rule, and that is enough. So as the child grows, the consequences changes, the situation changes, your rules and your enforcement of those rules should also change. Right? Now, the next one is very important, because effective parenting means effective communication. Even when children start to babble, it is they benefit actually from conversations with their parents. You know how the children start their baby talk at 1.5 years, and if you from that stage, if a parent starts talking back to them, they don't make any sense, but the very sound of the mother or the father enters their ears, and some way it resonates and it sticks to their brain, and that is how every child learns to talk. So the first word, even not the words, the baby talk which doesn't make any sense, from that time you should start your conversations with your kid. And as they grow up, chat about everything. No topic should be out of bounds. All your child wants is all they want is they need to be heard. They just want to be heard, and they want their parents to be good listeners. So you can talk about his day at school, or about his online classes or offline classes, how he's feeling about an upcoming exam, or you may talk about what he wants for his birthday this year. So there can be any topic, but do talk to them. And you know what, yesterday I went for a ladies meeting, and one lady, a young lady, she was telling the 2 school-going kids she has, and as soon as they come home, one starts talking what happened to in the school, what the teacher said, what her peers said, and all that. The other one feels quite hurt, because she feels that she is not being heard. So the mother, what she does is gives 15 minutes of her time to one kid and then say, you are done, your time is up, and time out. So now the other one she listens to. But this is a good way of parenting, because by that what happens is that both of them feel that they are important and they are being heard. So both of their needs are met. The longer the conversation, the better it is, because a conversation also teaches children about something. It has its benefits. Like first, it will enhance their language skills, their social skills, and their imaginative skills as well. The more you talk, the more things they get to know, the more things they share. So that is a side benefit of having conversations. And regular conversation with your child makes them feel more safe and secure. If they had a trouble with any kind of trouble with a peer, trouble about bullying, that's another subject of parenting which I deal with, how to deal with bullies. So somebody is bullying them at the in school, or there is some problem with a teacher which they cannot share. But if there is an open atmosphere in your house, and if they can converse with you, they feel very secure that they can share anything and everything with you. And you know, the world is becoming it's not only changing, it's becoming complicated. What we used to maybe experience in puberty or maybe in high school is now experienced by children as young as 9 years, 10 years. So since the world is changing so much and becoming complicated, it is more important, and more the onus is more on the parents to kind of know everything that's going on in their life. So the bottom line is, talk to your children a lot when he's young, and he's more likely to talk to you when he's a teenager. The most complaint that I find among parents who come to me for solutions is that the teenage children, they really don't want to talk to their parents. They will shut themselves in the room, and they want their own space. But what we don't realize is, maybe in the childhood, we didn't speak to them enough. They didn't find that openness in us. So that is why when they are in that phase, adolescence phase, they feel very shy, or they feel very reserved to share what's going on. So the more you talk to them when he or she is young, the more they are likely to talk to you when they are in their teenage. Next is a corollary to the talking only, that is, read to your kids, because benefits of reading are many. That is, it exposes your child to new vocabulary, then it teaches them new concepts and allows him to immerse himself in new worlds. And also, like in our childhood, we would like to read a lot about these fairy tales. Right now also it is there, but I think somehow we make them see the gadgets, you know, the iPads and all this. The cartoons and the fairy tales are also coming in that. No, that seeing is not enough. That is a motion that is somehow impacting their brain in a different way. But the same story, the same fairy tale, if it is read out to them, then it gives wings to their imagination in a different way. Only activating the brain by the audio and the video, it actually harms them more than doing good. So the old-fashioned way, like we were read to by our parents or by grandparents, that is the best way to give wings to their imagination. And if they don't like fiction, if they like non-fiction, then also it is good, because it exposes a wealth of facts. It gives a wealth of facts at their disposal if they like to read, or if their parents read to them about non-fiction. So your aim should be to read about 15. What is the noise, Chetna? Somebody is mute. Can you mute it? And otherwise, I think my voice is not big, will be clear. So as regards reading, your aim should be to individually, if you have 2 children, individually read to them about 20 minutes each child, and preferably at bedtime. And if they're of the same age, like if there is no difference, like a 1 year or 1.5 years age difference, you can read to them together also, but at least for 20 minutes before bedtime. And if the age group age gap is too much, then of course the same thing won't be relevant to both of them. And a study now done by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, this is an important one, please, like I would like you to pay a little attention to this, found out that a child who are read to frequently by their parents at a young age were up to a year ahead of their academic peers by age 15. That's a huge benefit. When the child reaches 15, somebody who has been read to, their intelligence, their EQ, their IQ is actually a year ahead of their academic peers. So it starts by simple reading habits, and it doesn't, you also enjoy the process, and the children, of course, they enjoy. And by 15, you can see the difference, how their EQ and IQ has been impacted. Okay. Next one is spend time together. Now, you may be thinking that whole day I'm spending with them only. I do a lot for them. I prepare them for school, make their breakfast. Then after coming home, I help them finish their homework. I feed them dinner and then tuck them to bed. But let me tell you, none of these are quality time which a child needs with the parents in order to thrive. The important thing is to thrive, to develop, to grow. That is these things that you're doing is a chore that you have to do because you are a parent, and you are somewhat a responsible parent. You don't want the maid to do or the house help to do. So you are doing all these things, sending him to school and helping with homework, etc. But in order to for the child to be able to grow and thrive, you need to do something more. You need to spend quality time with the child and set aside about 15 to 20 minutes each day, apart from the reading, and do something, spend time together, do something with your child which the child enjoys, not what you think is important or what you think should be a good way of spending time. Spend time with him or her in a way or in something that he or she likes to do. I'll give you an example here. I think many of you would heard about Vishen Lakhiani. He is the founder of Mind Valley, based out of US. Now, he's a single parent, okay, and he has 2 children, one boy, one girl. And when the boy was growing up, he thought as a parent, this is stuck to me so well, because, I really got attracted, and, I really found this very relevant for the parents of growing children, because he said in an interview that he brought some chemistry, very expensive chemistry lab sort of toys for his son, thinking that he's doing a very good thing. He will play with him on a Sunday, do some lab experiments with him. And so he will enjoy and he will learn also. Most parents think like that if we give them educational toys, or if we, some experiments or some things we do with them, that is a fun way of learning and they'll enjoy. Now, this poor son, he couldn't say anything because the father showed so much of enthusiasm and bringing that toy, and he was very enthusiastic to play those games and do those lab experiments with him. But slowly, Vishen, he realized that he was not taking interest. Then one day he asked, "What is the matter? Are you not enjoying this? How do you want me to spend time with you?" Then he said that he likes those animation, like animation kind of toys, something to do with animation. So then he realized that what he was thinking chemistry type of toys would interest him, did not. And when he switched over to what he liked, they bonded much better. He opened up, the son opened up, and what he was looking at, the aim was to spend quality time with the child. So that was achieved. So the crux of the matter here is, try to do something, not what you think is important, but what the child wants to do. So maybe you play a game, or you dress up. If it's a girl, you dress up, or you may just run around also outside for a bit, but ensure that the child is also enjoying it. Okay, so far so good. I hope it's fine. Going too fast, Chetna? Am I going too fast?
No, ma'am, it's okay. It's good.
Okay. So now the next one is allow kids to face challenges. Now we all know that adversity builds character, right? But it isn't easy to watch your child struggle also. And particularly for Indian parents, it pains us to see our children, fall, or our children getting hurt. We always want them to soft land, not crash land. We are always trying to having that protective foam around them so that they don't hurt themselves. But there always be situations when your little one needs your help or a certain kind of bailout also. But as he gets older, a little older kids, maybe 15, 16 onward, take a step backward and just see how he conquers the challenges that he faces in his life on his own. Just don't step in to protect him always, but take a back step and watch how he is going to figure out that how he's going to face those challenges. Dr. Shefali Zaveri, who is a very renowned parenting coach, she says that pain is a portal for growth. Like happiness, good feelings, positivity, we always talk about that, but we don't talk about the pain. That is also a portal or a gateway for growth in the child, for child development. So let children feel every kind of emotion, and every kind of feeling is important for them. So she gives a very good analogy, like, you should make your child standing on in a platform, he or she is standing on a railway platform and just watches a train going by, a train passing by, with all compartments one after the other, and each compartment depicting one emotion, like sadness, then happiness, then heartbreak, or any sort of any kind of feeling like failure, resistance, rejection. All the negative feelings are also going one by one, and he is just an observer standing on the platform and observing one of the emotions going one by one. So it is called an art of dissociation. Nothing is affecting him, neither the good nor the bad. He's just an observer. It is a difficult to do, but you need to educate your child that he can handle failure, rejection, heartbreak in a much healthy manner. Now, how you can do it, I will tell you through some examples. Like, for example, your child has been working very hard to be selected in the school soccer team, but somehow he's not selected. So what we generally admit, what we generally do is swoop in and request the team leader to rectify the situation. Never do that. The more you do that, the wrong signals will go to your child that my parent will come to my rescue and fix any and every situation. Instead, you explain to your child that sometimes, even despite hard work, things don't go the way we have planned. And you can encourage him to continue to hone his skills so that he's selected the next year. Just don't swoop in and tell the maybe the teacher or the team leader that include my child or something. You teach him that you hone your skills next year, try next year, and because you have tried, that's very good and that's appreciated. But sometimes things don't go as planned. So this strategy, if you take, what will happen is it will teach your kids that their parents won't always fix their problems, but also sometimes, and it will also teach that sometimes things aren't going to go their way. They cannot have their way always. So it's a very healthy way of putting forward things to your child, and that gives rise to a very mentally healthy child, that there will be failures, there will be rejection, but I am capable of handling everything, all emotions. Okay, now is again what happened. Again, I'm not being able to share the next one. New share. Again, it is hung. What happened, Chetna? I cannot understand.
Okay, ma'am, maybe some problem is with your end because you can
Again, I
just
will mute and take
yeah,
some help.
you can just stop the share and again reshare it.
Okay, sure. Stop share and then we share. Yeah. So I'm back. The seventh one is respect your child's need of independence. So as a child grows up, from a small kid to a maybe a little elder kid, his choices are going to have more and more impact in his life. In the formative years, we tell them what is good and what is bad. But as he grows up, he will be able to identify that what he needs and what he does not need. While you don't always have to agree with his choices, you should respect the idea. Just because your child is doing something differently does not mean that it is all a bogus idea or it's a bad idea. You may do it differently. He may be thinking of doing it differently. So always respect and listen to that idea. If that choice doesn't work out, then your child learns a lesson. The lesson that how the decision uh, she made has not been a smart decision and it has its consequences. And if the opposite happens, if the choice does go in her favor, then she will learn the positive impact of making smart decisions in life. So in either way, it's a win-win. You don't have to step in and always tell the child that what he or she needs to do. Let him take the decision. You just be the observer. So like, let your child face natural consequences sometimes also. Like for example, if your daughter insists going out without a coat, or maybe now it's the rainy season, without an umbrella or a raincoat, and she isn't in danger of get freezing or getting drenched or something, let her do it. If she gets cold or if she gets wet, it's more likely that next time she will uh, wear the jacket, uh, wear a jacket or raincoat the next time. So what I'm trying to tell here is that just let them be uh, for what they think is right for them, not maybe taking huge risks, but little risks they can take, and then they will, if it goes well, then they know it was a smart decision. If it doesn't go well, they also know that it was a wrong choice and it can impact their life. Spend time away from your kids. This one is very important because you might tend to feel that your children are your whole life and whole world, and that's very natural. Most parents, especially Indian parents, feel that way, that our entire, and we hear parents saying that my entire world is my son or my daughter, I don't think of anything else. That's very natural, but that doesn't mean that you have to be with them 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. Parents need breaks too. You need to tell your child that parents need breaks too, period. Arrange some time away from your children for some self-care, or maybe recharging your relationships as well. And here, you and your partner get to decide how much time you need together and when you need it. Let nobody tell you what is appropriate or what is not. Indian parents also has maybe having this mentality, I'm not sure, but I get this very often, that if they spend time alone, the parents, that is the father and the mother, away from the kid, they don't feel very comfortable. Either they feel very selfish, or whatever they feel, they always want that the child also should be included. But that is not a healthy way of parenting. So maybe you will be criticized if there are elders at home, or if there are neighbors, that you spend time together and your child is doing something else. But that is also a healthy thing to do. Your child needs to know that you are not going to be with them, be with them 24 into 7. So if your both the partners decide that the father will take the children out on a Sunday morning for some classes, while you can just sip coffee or browse the internet, that is also okay. One parent spending time is also okay with the child, but the point is the parents should spend healthy time between themselves also. So and also once in a while you should schedule a date night with a babysitter if the small children who have, and once a month you both of you can go and have a dinner and reconnect over a dinner when the child can be with the babysitter. So it's healthy to let your child know, or to show your child that you have interests, hobbies and activities outside the house. So what will happen is that stepping away once in a while will teach that child that she can be fine without you for some time. This is more relevant to smaller kids. Even if they are of us 5-6 years, they should know that certain amount of time. Otherwise, yesterday where I told you I went for a meeting, there this child was 8 years old. His name was Rio, and the kind, because we were about 5 to 7 ladies talking. Now what happens is, because the mother is engaged in, because it was in her house, she's engaged in the serving snacks or tea and coffee or coming and talking to us. This child felt so left out that constantly he was just coming and hitting the mother, and with a gun, a toy gun, or just flinging the phone at her, all to grab attention, probably because he is used to getting so much attention every time, 24 into 7. Then, and as a perceiver, as an observer, we feel that what a misbehaved child this is, what kind of behavior is this. But least understanding that this is somehow been done by the parents. They have given him so much of attention that when there is that lack of attention, he's seeing that his mother is busy in certain other things, he cannot take it. He just wants to grab the mother's attention. So even for 6, 7, 8-year-olds, you need to show them that you have your interests, your hobbies, and your activities outside the child, or even outside the house. And it won't hurt the child also to be left alone for a certain amount of time. Yes. The last one is love your children unconditionally. Your love for your child. I have heard many things when my own children were growing up, and you won't believe, when they were teenagers, I had come across to horrifying stories that fathers used to be fathers, mothers also sometimes very conditional about their love. Ye hoga to then only there is appreciation shown or love shown. So your love for your child shouldn't have any strings or limits attached to it. Nor should your child feel that he needs to work for your affection, right? There is nothing. A child is born, you are naturally inclined to love that child and keep that love and support and help growing as the child grows. It's not like you're loving when it's a kid, and when they're growing and having their own ideas and their own perceptions or their own way of thinking, there is some attachment, there's some strings attached, that if this happens, your love goes down. I admit that you'll be hurt, but there are ways of dealing with that hurt also. So what highly effective parents do, they make it amply clear to the child that no matter how many mistakes the child makes, they will always be there. The parents are always there as a loving support. They always have their parents back. So don't reserve your praise for your child only at times when they are perfect. Instead, praise his willingness for working hard, and also his desire to work harder when he fails. Have I been able to explain this? Like, you need to appreciate him when he works hard, and suppose he fails, you withdraw your love or appreciation. That's not going to work. Instead, you need to appreciate him more and encourage him more, because he is working hard enough to succeed the next time. So make sure the child knows that your love for him doesn't depend on his achievement or success. If he fails, you need to encourage him more. Instead, show that you love him no matter what. The ground rule is that you provide the support, the help, and the love all through his growing years. So that is the 9 habits. Instead of 7, I've told you about 9. So I think that if you follow these 9 habits, then a lot of the parenting struggles which are there, which generally the parents face, which I find my clients or parents who come to me for help face, if these 9 rules are followed as much as possible, then it will help you to solve many challenges, and your journey of parenting will be a very rewarding one for you, and as well for your kids also. So Chetna, I had this is the end of my screen sharing. uh,
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, and now I had promised that I will tell something about raising happy kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the agenda it was there. So I know how much time I have taken, but I will share one point where you can really raise happy kids, and you will always see them as a what is a thriving kid, a developing kid, not always a grumpy or seeking attention, or not like that. I mean to say that he or she will be a self-reliant, happy person. So one tip about that, there's no slide to show here. I'll just close, maybe stop sharing. So this one says that avoid overindulging your child in anything. Now, buying your child lots of gifts, now that the festive season is coming, we want to overindulge the child with gifts for a holiday or for a celebration, because just because we want to make up for the lost time that we cannot spend with them. But that will not actually make him or her happy. It is very momentary. The moment the attention span is so less of children that they get bored of the gifts very soon. So the next look at the next thing what is coming. In fact, overindulging kids may actually take a toll on their mental well-being. This has been researched and seen that if you're going to research also indicates that kids who are overindulged are likely to experience feelings of chronic discontent. Even when they grow up, nothing is going to satisfy them. We as adults also see, some children have grown into young adults like that, that one thing after the other they need for some stimulation. So they experience that chronic sense of discontent, that even if you're going to buy them the moon, or if you get them the moon, they will not be satisfied with them. And they may struggle to identify the difference between wants and needs. And eventually what they feel is happiness is attached to material objects, which is not true. So from the very beginning, instead of overindulging your child, if you can attach privileges, that will be more rewarding, that they can earn the privileges and they will appreciate it more if they work hard to get something, instead, rather than giving them everything on a platter every time. So give them an opportunity to earn privileges, and that way they will grow up into satisfied and happy adults who are not always discontent with everything, and they want the next thing, next shiny object. So focus more on experiences rather than material objects. Study shows that the people, including children, who are the happiest, spend their time and money in creating memories and not acquiring more items. So the happiest countries, this is Finland and all these. Now, why they are happy? Study shows that because they spend time and their money, like in the other countries where there is a lot of materialistic things to hoard, that those countries are not, their happiness index is not very high. So children is also the same thing. Children feel more happy, the more content from inside, if you're going to spend your time and money making memories with them, instead of giving them whatever they want. So that's about it. I can take the question answers now.
Okay, so you can ask the questions here, Dr. Radha, Preeti. I would just invite you to ask the question if you have any doubts and any problems
There are
related
some
to
questions in
parenting.
the chat also.
No, there isn't any question, ma'am. But they can ask. Yes, Dr. Radha, if you have to ask something, please unmute yourself and you can ask the question. And Preeti, you also, please.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Like I just want to ask, like, how can you stop a comparison between both of your children? Like, we don't try to do it purposely, but then sometimes it happens unconsciously. वो हो ही जाता है.
हो ही जाता है.
Yeah. So how can you try and stop that comparison? Even if it is in your mind, you don't speak out to your child about it. But then
no, yeah, I understand from my own experience only. I had a boy and a girl, and sometimes you feel like comparing, but what I did personally, I can tell you that instead what happens when we want to compare, ki one is good in studies, the other is not in good, is so much not studying, this is one thing, or one may be very organized, the other is not organized. So what I started doing is, instead of comparing, I started, upholding the or praising the appreciating the quality the other one doesn't have. That way, uska kuch nahi, usko kuch hai to isko bhi kuch hai quality, highlighting that quality. Instead, I also felt like, कि ये इतना अच्छे से पढ़ाई करता है, mainly for behavioral also, behavioral skills also. One is quite very I would say soft spoken, the other is very rebellious, but the other is more organized, and this one is not organized. So जो वो bad behavior कर रहा है लेकिन organized है, उसको organize के लिए I started praising, and इसको जो soft spoken है, not organized, I started, so they get the point. They always are vying for your attention, your love. So they get the point that indirectly I'm not comparing, but I'm making the point clear कि इसका ये अच्छा है, इसका ये अच्छा है. So वैसे वो बहुत अच्छे से deal हुआ था. I mean, I could deal with that situation very well, and now they are grown up. But since my children were almost 2.5 years apart, the age gap wasn't there. So there was always like Tom and Jerry situation with them. So I had to be very, praise the quality this one has and praise the quality that the other one has. So that's
okay. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.